Out. Thank you everybody for coming out. And today we're in the 4th District. I want to thank O'Bannon Elementary School for hosting us. Can we give them a big round of applause, everybody? Before we get started, I want to remind everybody in here that this Mayor's Night Out is driven by your written questions. And right now we have one question. And I'm fine with that, by the way. I'm not complaining. But if you want to make Mayor's Night Out last a little longer, please fill out questions. Where's our fill-in table at right now? There it is. Oh, there's Eva back there.
It's
Eva.
roving.
It's a roving table today. Eva is walking around. She has questionnaires if you want to mark down. We ask that you put your name and address on there, but you don't have to do it. Only reason we ask you to do that is so we can follow it up. If you have a question and an issue, we want to be able to follow it up with you and know how to contact you. So anyway, Eva's right over there. We got one question. We're going to go ahead and get started right now. Which side are we starting on, Donna?
Wherever you want. Here's
Hi, this is Donna Muta. Give her a round of
Hey, guys.
Nice to see you, Donna. I want to remind everybody that this is being streamed right now on Go Hammond TV. So if you want to watch it again once you get home, you got that opportunity, which is great. Let's go ahead and get started.
Hi, Phil Talon, Chief of Staff.
Sharon Daniels, Personnel, College Bound.
Chris Sackalaris, Hammond Legal Aid Clinic.
Marty Wilgus, Hammond Sanitary District.
Jack Smith, Sanitary District.
Jaime Prieto, Code Enforcement.
Kelly Kearney, Inspections.
Bob Vale, Building Commissioner.
Africa Tarver, Planning and Development.
Dennis Radowski, United Neighborhood Take.
Ron Novak, Environmental.
Lakeisha Garter, Planning and Development.
Dean Button, Engineering.
John Doty, Hammond Police Department.
Bill Emerson, 4th District Councilman.
Mila Krasinski, Port Authority.
Ann Anderson, Economic Development.
Mark Heinz, Parks and Recreation.
Megan Flores, City Controller.
Jeff Smith, Fire Department.
Carmen Paniagua, Housing Authority.
Mark McLaughlin, Water Department.
Clyde Stout, Public Works.
Chris Campbell, Information Technology.
Awana Miller, Community Development.
All right. We got a couple presentations we're doing before we start Mayor's Night Out, which will give you guys a chance to ask more questions. So we're going to start off reminding everybody that 2020 is census year, and I realize that if you're in the audience right now, you're the type of person that fills out your census form and returns them, which is super important for our city. However, a lot of people that are watching this on Go Hammond TV, and a lot of people that see it in the future may not realize what's going to happen here within the next few weeks. So we asked Nicholas Elliott from the U.S. Census Bureau to come up and give a little presentation real quick on what's going on with the U.S. Census. So I heard Nicholas's presentations in Gary. He's doing this for a profession right now, and he did a great job in Gary the other day. So let's give him a warm welcome. Nicholas. Gary had a 10-day revival, and I think Nicholas did every one of those 10 days, right?
I did 8.
You did 8 out of 10, which is great. So welcome to Hammond, Nick.
Thanks, Mayor. Appreciate it. Good evening, everybody. That was a really, come on, let's try again. Good evening? Good evening. All right, thank you. I know it's late. I'll make this pretty brief, but Mayor already mentioned several things about the census, and I'm here to talk to you very quickly about why you should care about this, because as he mentioned, most of you are civic-minded. Most of you are going to fill this out. It's the folks at home, the folks that are in the community that may not understand the importance of the census that we're talking to today. So starting in a few weeks, March 12th, everybody across the United States, about 95% of households will receive an invitation to respond to the census. This decennial, this 10-year mark, actually will be available online via phone and the traditional paper method. There's 12 languages besides English that we can support for online and phone submission. And the reason that we should care is there's 2 major reasons. House of Representatives is determined by population. And each 10 years that we do this, we get to decide how many people are going to be represented in this state. Over the last 20 years, we've lost 2 seats in the House in this state, which means we're down to 9. 20 years ago, we had 11. That's an important part of our civic process, right? We want to make sure that we have a real strong voice in D.C. for Indiana, in Northwest Indiana especially. The other major reason is the funding. $675 billion goes out each year based upon census data. So if you think of programs like free and reduced lunch, which we're in a school, so it's appropriate, Head Start, early Head Start, SNAP benefits, TANF, unemployment, but also rural development, highways and roads, firefighters, emergency services. There's over 100 federal programs that get impacted every year by census data. So this is why this matters to your community, because if your community doesn't get fully and accurately counted in the next couple of months, then your community will not receive those funds. And this is important for your community to understand. It's safe and it's secure, and it will be starting March 12th. Again, that is the date that every household will receive some sort of invitation to respond. Again, it's online, via phone, and the paper method. If you don't respond by the 4th mailer, we're going to come out, or we're going to send a paper questionnaire, rather, out to your house. And then starting in May, we'll actually be knocking on your door to make sure you respond. Any questions we can take, I guess, after. So, yeah, thank you.
I have a question. Back several months ago, there was some kind of, I'm sorry. There was some kind of census thing that came in the mail that was quite lengthy. And who was that from?
So the Census Bureau is the statistical body of the U.S. government. We do a lot of different surveys. The decennial is the major one that we do that is a comprehensive survey for the whole country, right? We include everybody. There are other surveys out there, such as the American Community Survey, that may be sent out to select households in the United States. That might have been it. I'm not sure. I didn't see it, but certainly that could be it.
So that one won't override what the normal one?
Correct.
Okay.
The decennial survey is, actually we have some literature over there I'll pass out to everybody that's interested, but it actually lists the questions. Everything is also available online, 2020census.gov. You can look at what the questions will be. You can actually see a sample questionnaire, a sample invitation to respond. The material is available in Spanish and English, and again, 12 languages besides those. So, certainly check out the website there, and you can find out some material, at least get some questions answered that way. Yes.
I know you guys are hiring right now also. Could you talk a little bit?
Absolutely. So in Lake County, the pay is actually right now at $25 an hour. And we're looking for individuals that are 18 and citizens. Those are kind of the basic requirements. We are looking for individuals in Lake County. The area census office is in Maryville. We have positions. Most of those are going to be in census enumerator positions, which will be going out and knocking on doors. We are still hiring. Hiring will probably be until April, and we're looking to have people employed up until probably late July. Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys.
As you guys know, 10 years ago, because we did an accurate count, we surprised the Census Bureau with about 6,000 more residents than they anticipated in the city of Hammond, and we took over as Lake County's largest city 10 years ago. So we want to make sure that, during this census, we also get an accurate count, and hopefully we at least maintain what our population's been, which would be a surprise to the census, because every year we get the estimations and they estimate that people are moving out every year. So hopefully we could pleasantly surprise them again this year. But the only way to do that is to make sure we get an accurate count. So you'll start to see this stuff arriving in March, you said? Early March. So just fill it out once and get it back. If you fill it out the first time, you won't get the repeats? Okay. So thank you very much, Nicholas. If you want to come back in the future, you got an option here. So thank you very much. All right. He's great in church also, if you're interested in inviting him. So anyway, next I'd like to introduce the 4th District Councilman Bill Emerson. Give him a warm welcome, everybody.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you all for coming out tonight on this sort of region weather evening. Appreciate it all. I decided to go over briefly, since it's been a while since we met the last time, 2019 projects, not all of them, but just the ones that I think were important. We did a lot of overlay work in Schleicher, or if you're a real region rat, Slacker. So I have maps, and I want to thank Councilman Dave Warple for going together with me on Bertram. We both combined and did about, I think it's about three and a half blocks of Bertram. We did 10, other than the 4th, we did 10 total blocks in Schleicher. And without going through all the rest of the projects, we did a lot on 173rd and one lighting project on 174th. Moving on to this year, and you can look at these maps after if you want to hang around and look at them. in the military, we have a dream sheet. I always talk about it. You go in the military and they tell you where you want to be. And, I said Hawaii, and of course I didn't go to Hawaii. But anyway, so I fill out the dream sheet with engineering. And this year, I can tell you what we've kind of talked about already. And I want to thank the mayor for going to hopefully contribute, and I'm going to contribute to Holman Avenue from 165th to the river, or Munster. And it's in bad shape in some places, but if we can do it, that's the plan. I also want to do 173rd Place, the 200 block from Lyman to Holman, and 173rd Street, Calumet to Tapper. We didn't do it last year. We did a lot on 173rd, but kind of ran out of money. And then I mentioned Holman. So that's the dream sheet so far. We're going to meet with engineering and talk about that as time goes on. Number 3, Edison Park. I want to thank Dean Button and the Board of Works for installing a 4-way stop sign at Mulberry and Madison. Edison there were 4-way stops on each corner. It's a rectangle. And for some reason, prior planning, they didn't put one at Mulberry and Madison. And dovetailing into Edison Park, I would like to say that, and I live in the neighborhood, so it's gone from maybe 8 to 10 people in the pool that we had to at one Friday night, there was like 200 people at Edison Park. There was a soccer instructional thing going on. But any given weekend and any given night, there's between 50 and 100 people playing soccer, using the playground, using the little skateboard park. And thanks to Mark Heinz and the Parks Department for their work. The calls that I got were about litter, and that's a good problem to have. Too much litter. Well, when there's 8 people in the pool, there will be a lot of litter. So Mark installed new garbage cans. They look really nice, and it doesn't mean people are going to use them, but there's more opportunity to dispose of your litter. So I want to thank those people and also brag a little bit. Copy of the Edison Park Award from the American Society of Landscape Architects. And having done landscaping when I was younger, that's a tough job, but they got an award, and there were like 3 other people in the state of Indiana, in Indianapolis, that got it. I couldn't go because I had to work, but real proud of the job everybody did on Edison. So I would like, number 4, last month we welcomed Advanced Engineering Services, and the owner of that place on Calumet Avenue is Akhtar Zaman. I hope I pronounced that right. Was there for the ribbon cutting, and the 4th District is primarily residential, so anytime we get a new business, I'm a happy camper, and so we got that. It's right across from a certain headquarters and Kaplan's fireworks store. The next one, number 5, in September of last year, we unveiled the new Dairy Bell Lane honorary sign. Dairy Bell has been in Hammond for almost 70 years, had a couple of different owners. I was very happy about that, and it was a great day, and 171st Street to Jefferson is now Dairy Bell Lane honorary. And finally, the bike path bridges. The Erie-Lackawanna bike path, which is by the old Stardust in the new storage area. What we're planning to do, and I thank the mayor again, and I thank the 3rd District Councilman Barry Tyler, and myself, we're contributing a little to light it and paint it. If you've been by Conkey, you know how wonderful I think that bridge looks at night. And so that's what we want to do there. And 165th and Lyman, the Monon bike path, we want to do the same thing there. And I thank Councilman Tyler again, and I will be contributing to that. So I don't know about the painting. It's a work in progress, but that's what we're going to do. And that's the 4th District report. Happy New Year, by the way, belated.
Thanks, Councilman. We did basically for the bike trail improvements that the councilman was talking about, Barry, 3rd District Councilman who just walked in, funny enough, put in for it, councilman put in for it, mayor put in for it, and so did the 5th District Councilman, and basically it's going to be a bike trail improvement that goes from downtown Hammond all the way, well, basically from the new bike trail bridge all the way to Cabela's, which is going to be nice. So it was neat to see 3 council people get together like that, and then the mayor put in money, and it's going to be a great improvement. And what you're going to see is the old bridges that we built are going to be painted and lit, just like the new bridge we have on Conkey. When we lit that bridge up, it changed the way we all look at bridges, and suddenly our old bridges looked old and shabby compared to the new ones. So it's nice to get some cooperation from the council members for us to get that going. But next, we have a presentation for an officer award. We've been doing these at Mayor's Night Out. Chief Doty decided to implement this program to recognize the great work done by his Hammond police officers. So I'm going to give the microphone to Hammond's Police Chief, Chief John Doty.
Test.
What's up, Enrique?
This program, we have medals we designed to give out to our officers. They will eventually go on our wall in the police department. They will not be removed. They're there for historical value, hopefully for their kids and their kids' kids to see. Our officers go out every day to protect and serve. These are the ones that go above and beyond for you and for us every day, so we like to give them a little extra special recognition. When it goes beyond just a letter, we like to give them something metal and something important and something that will last. So Enrique responded to a shooting on November 4th of last year. The award he's getting is the Lifesaver Award. He applied a tourniquet to a victim who was shot, and once the victim got to the hospital, we were assured by medical staff that he would have died had that tourniquet not been applied. We're very proud of him. This is not his first award. I'm proud to receive another one. This one I'm a little extra proud to give out because it shows a mix of what our department does. It's when our patrol division does great work in the field, coupled by the great work in our detective bureau to culminate in prosecution, not just the arrest, but successful prosecution of the bad guys so repeat crime does not happen. This was a particularly dangerous incident. On October 5th of 2019, 2 armed suspects began terrorizing citizens by robbing an elderly couple while they waited for a train on Indianapolis Boulevard. These same suspects then were involved in a road rage incident where they fired a gun at another vehicle while driving. A short time later, Hammond Police received a call that the vehicle suspects were driving. They were spotted in our city. Officers Horniak and McGing responded, located the suspects. The suspects led the officers on a vehicle's pursuit into Illinois. The suspects crashed and attempted to run into the officers, attempting to run them over and kill them. They were pinned against, Officer Horniak was pinned against the door frame of his police vehicle. The officers then successfully took the violent and armed suspects into custody. Detective Sergeant Steve Guernsey performed an extensive investigation into this case, uncovering multiple additional businesses that had been affected by their crimes. He located the firearm used in these crimes and was able to remove that gun from our streets. He was able to charge the suspects with armed robbery, intimidation, criminal recklessness, and resisting law enforcement. Detective Guernsey will be receiving the Distinguished Service Award, which recognizes a highly credible act in the line of duty showing initiative. We are proud of our officers for conducting outstanding work under dangerous conditions. The first two awards are Medal of Valor, in which you have to risk your life, or one that poses serious injury to you to receive.
One more time for the great Hammond police officers recognized today. Thank you, Bill. One more. My bad.
One more. Same guy, so we got a little confused. Also, Officer McGing also receiving a Distinguished Service Award for another incident, one I had the great pleasure of being part of after the fact, on scene while some things he enacted unfolded. We're also presenting Distinguished Service Award to Officer McGing. This award, again, recognizes a highly credible act in the line of duty, showing initiative and accomplishment which brings acclaim to the officer, the police department, and the city of Hammond. In late December of last year, Hammond residents were victims of multiple crimes that are still under investigation and cannot be discussed in detail tonight. However, these crimes left our residents in fear for their homes and their personal safety. On January 5th, Officer McGing went above and beyond his duties by independently developing a lead which led to a search warrant and the arrest of a violent suspect. Since this arrest, the crimes have ceased in our city, and detectives are continuing their investigation to hold other persons involved accountable. We're proud of Officer McGing for his outstanding work ethic and work helping to protect the citizens of Hammond. Thank you.
I admitted I was sucking in my gut on that photo. Okay. Yeah. Whew, I can finally breathe. All right. So we got all the initial things out of the way. We have all the department heads introduce themselves to you, and we have a question. Hopefully we have more than one question. Donna, are we doing?
We have two at this point.
Okay, so we're going to stretch out, and we'll think of some great things. But I tell you what, hitting the census was super important this morning. I appreciate you being here. By the way, we come here just about every year, right, Donna? I think they had done a total renovation of this room since the last time we were.
They did say that they did, I think, 4 schools. This looks fabulous.
Yeah,
it's so
this is definitely
uplifting.
A lot different than the last time we were here. I don't remember Wonder Woman being over my head last time I was here, so it's really nice stuff.
They said they did it this summer.
It's really nice. Looks great. So anyway, that's one of the reasons we do Mayor's Night Out in different locations, because a lot of people don't have a reason to go to abandoned school anymore because their kids are grown. So when we do meetings like this, we try to get it in the locations where you may not always get to see, like Purdue Northwest and stuff like that. So anyway, let's go ahead and cover the first question, Donna.
Okay, let's start with code enforcement. Hi.
Excellent. How you doing, Jaime?
This one even sounds familiar to me.
This is Jaime Prieto. He's a great guy. He's here to answer all your code enforcement issues.
All.
I know we've had this. We've had this before. So the homeowner at 6510 Nevada has been pumping his water into the alley in 165th Street. Been writing for 2 years, came to 3 mayor's nights, nothing's been done.
Yes. I have that complaint on my desk from last mayor's night, 6510 Nevada.
Yes,
I know we've talked about this before, right, Jaime?
Yeah, we have. And
probably Marty, right?
I'll gladly give it to Marty. That's no.
Do a great job.
We have talked about this before. We have met with Sanitary District to see what options a lot of these houses can have. This particular house already did have some extensive plumbing done. We're seeing what other options they can have as far as fixing this issue. We do know that permits were pulled before at this house, as I said, for an extensive amount of work. So I know it's a pain, but we are trying to work with this house as well as any other house that's having the same issue across the city. It's pretty prevalent in Hesville, and especially in that area, high water table, who knows. But we have been working with other departments, and hopefully we can get this solved soon. I know it's been a long time, but there's just a lot to it. So.
Okay. Is the homeowner here want to follow this up maybe, or does that have anything to do with sanitary? I mean, yeah, Marty, want to jump in a little? This is Marty Wilgus. He's the head of sanitary.
We've been working with Jaime and his department, Mayor. You have to remember a couple of things. Hammond basically was built on a swamp. And so the water tables are really high, especially in Hessville. I live in Hessville. Lake Michigan's up almost a foot. So it just makes his problem even worse because his sump pump almost never stops. So it's been an ongoing problem, and I don't know if Jeff wants to jump in and anything, but the problem is
Nevada, that's a dead end also, right?
Well, you can't.
No?
The problem is
No.
we can't. You can't hook that into the sewer line. That cannot go into the sewer. Now, I would assume, Jeff, and correct me if I'm wrong, if there was storm sewer in that area that would be close nearby, we could allow him to connect into that. But unfortunately, that area isn't separated. So that's what causes the problem to be even worse.
Jeff? You see you have a microphone?
If you can get to a storm sewer, you can hook it to a storm sewer. But if you hook it into a sanitary sewer, the problem is you can take water that's going out into the ground now and pump it into your neighbor's basement instead. So you take a problem that is kind of inconvenient with the water going out on the ground, and then take it now and put it into a sanitary sewer that can become overwhelmed.
And not only that, we've been getting away from trying to separate the sanitary from the stormwater.
Well, that's true.
We'd be
We're
going
mandated
backwards.
by EPA to eliminate excess water into into the combination sewers or the sanitary sewers. So we have to find a way to do something that makes things better for everyone without passing it on to the next neighbor down the street and putting it in their basement or causing other flooding.
Dean, you got anything on this issue? Okay, cool. All right. Homeowner, you out here? Wanna follow that?
It's the neighbors complaining, it's not the homeowner.
Okay. By the way, you know, we all come out to Mayor's Night, obviously. We have 6 times a year, and we come out, and sometimes you come out and it's your anniversary, or sometimes you come out and you're supposed to have a big date with the wife. Today, we have a young man here, it's his birthday, and he's here at Mayor's Night. I appreciate him being here. Matt Muta, happy birthday. Good to see you. Happy birthday, Matt. Glad to see you at Mayor's Night, earning your pay. So, all right, let's go ahead. I'm going to have to start freelancing after this pretty soon, huh? We don't have a lot of questions coming in. Which is, I'm never going to complain that we don't have a lot of questions, because, you know, we come in sometimes at Mayor's Night, we'll have 40 questions waiting for us. But I do want to go in through the elected officials and thank them for being here first off. I want to thank Hammond City Clerk Robert Golick. Good to see you, Clerk Golick. Hammond Councilwoman at Large, Katrina Alexander. Good to see you, Katrina. Hammond Councilwoman at Large, Janet Venez. Good to see you, Janet. Hammond Councilman at Large, Dan Spitali. Good to see you, Dan. Hammond's County Councilman, Dave Ham. Good to see you, Dave. Hammond's 3rd District Councilman, Barry Tyler. Good to see you, Barry. We've already introduced the 4th District Councilman, Bill Emerson. And the Council President, Dave Warple. He's also the 5th District Councilman. Who? Rayco's here? I'm sorry. Hammond's 6th District Councilman, Scott Rayco's. Good to see you here, Councilman. So I want to say thank you to the elected officials for being here. They don't get paid any extra for being here either. So let's go ahead and do our next question.
Mayor, I got to say, we've been doing this quite a while together.
Yeah.
This is the first time I haven't had a police matter in my stack. Chief, congrats.
No, you know what? You just totally screwed up.
It's not over yet, though.
You totally screwed up. We're going to get...
Now we're going to have like 10.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know who this is for, so I'll just read it.
Okay.
All entrances to Hammond are very welcoming, except 165th and State Line. Is there anything we can do to beautify that corner?
165th and State Line, when you come into Hammond, make a quick left or else you're going to hit a wall, right? I agree, it's rough, and unfortunately, we do have, I know Gary, one of your, you know, semi-annual jobs is going out there because there's a wreck into that wall, So I agree. That's pretty. We have the welcome to Hammond sign shortly after you get in there, but the turn itself is sort of an abrupt entrance into our city. And we did have a project where we went around and specifically worked on all the entrances, and I agree that probably could be a little bit better. We do have a LPR system there, though, right, Chief? Yes, absolutely. And so, good question. Anybody want to add to this? I mean, we could ask our councilman here. What do you think about that, Councilman?
Well, it's whenever I drive back from Illinois, I wonder if anybody got killed hitting the guardrail and the big cement blocks, I guess, that Gary put up there. Anyway, I know it doesn't look good. I don't know if the question was beautification or just dangerous corner. Either way, we could look at it and try to get some planners or something. But I think other than that, I'm happy that there's the cameras there. But I know it needs to be spruced up somehow. So marigolds or something. But I just don't want a car to hit the flower pot, you know, that we put in, but I guess we have no control over that.
Thanks, Bill. That's something to definitely keep in mind. I appreciate whoever wrote that question down. It's definitely, I'm querying, if you have a question, please turn it into Donna. Is that the last question we have?
We got one little one
Okay,
left.
don't do it. We'll do some things over here, and I'll give you guys a chance to rally here. I want to stop off, first off, with Mylan from the Hammond Port Authority. How you doing, Mylan? Already thinking about the summertime coming up?
We sure are, yes.
Mylan, you got an interesting job. The funny thing, you learn a lot in 16 years of being mayor. Mylan's job, in the summertime, nobody wants Mylan's job. He's up at 4:30 in the morning, getting things opened up, and during the long summer nights, he's up until 10 o'clock at night, closing everything down, and he's really putting in serious hours. But during this time of year, Mylan gets his money back from the taxpayers, right? So
yes,
it's a little
Mayor.
easier this time of year, right?
A little bit,
Yeah.
right?
I know
Except
you
when
guys
we have all these storms.
Yeah, that's true.
That's right.
So I know we do a lot of winter activities when we have winter-like weather.
Well, you're right, exactly. So
Like the Lost Marsh.
It'd be great if we had sticking snow so we can have some cross-country skiing.
Well, then you pray for sticky snow, and then Gary Gleason over there in the street department is cursing you for even saying that. So.
We don't battle that much, just talk. Also, though, you know, at this time of the year, if it's halfway decent, we do invite the public out to Lost Marsh. They're welcome to walk the cart paths.
Yeah.
And that could help us a lot.
A lot of people do that?
No, and we need to get more people out there to do that.
Or how about joggers? I mean, I bet you.
A few.
But like during this time of year is perfect for it because they can't really do that during golf season.
Correct. That's why we asked them to come out now. They could also help us with the geese because that moves the geese away from the golf course.
Wow.
Because right now the ground's pretty open, so they're having a feast on the grass. Yes.
Yeah.
So come out to Lost Marsh and walk.
I could help you with that problem.
You can you?
Yeah, I have a squirrel problem by my house. I get good. So anyway,
so yeah,
did you see that video I cut at the beach?
Yes,
by the way?
yes.
It had like 20,000 people watched it.
It was amazing.
We used to have a really nice long Hammond Beach up there on the lakefront, and then a couple of years ago the water level was so high it cut it into 2 beaches.
Correct.
When I was out there, we had no beach.
No, we have very little beach left.
Really?
Yes.
You still need lifeguards though?
We still need lifeguards, yes.
Okay.
So that's what I'm pitching.
Okay.
If you know anyone that would like to be a lifeguard and that's not swimming right now in a program or a lifeguard already, we go to the Y and they help us train these kids and then we move on from there.
I could vouch. My son Tommy was a decent swimmer. He, never on the high school swim team, but he went through this program and got approved, and it's hard. So like, if your kid's a strong swimmer and they want a great job in the summertime, working at the beach in the Hammond is a great place to work. But it's hard though. It's surprising. First off, the kids are in the water a lot, right?
Yep.
And that water, like, that's the first day I would quit. As soon as I put my toe in the water, I'd be like, okay, this job's not for me.
It's
like
a little
60-some
chilly.
degrees.
Yeah, it's chilly.
And they like jump right in.
They do. Sharon's son is our
Yes.
head lifeguard, and he did a fantastic job last year.
Yep.
We'd like to thank him again and make sure, Sharon, we welcome him back.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. We'll give him a raise. It's all good. Thank you. And that's the thing. We do pay our lifeguards more than we pay a lot of our other folks that come out as far as maintenance goes and security because they are protecting people from themselves. I say that every year, but folks get a little crazy when they get around water and they don't want to pay attention. So our lifeguards are there to protect these folks from doing anything crazy.
So basically, if you have a young boy or girl that is a good swimmer, in good shape, and you want them to have a good job this summer, it's really decent hours too. I mean,
it is.
Yeah, so I tell you, I love keeping my kids busy in the summertime. And when Tommy told me he wanted to work there, I was like, okay. I'm so glad he did it. I think it's a really good experience, and we always struggle to find Hammond kids to fill those spots. So if you can get your kid qualified, it's a great option, and they'll work all summer long in the Hammond Beach. So
thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, you have a good crew out there, and I tell you, Brock Daniels, I've known him since he was a little kid. He's really a great role model for the kids too. It's like a little army unit they have out there. So, but anyway, that's great to hear Brock's coming back, and If he wasn't coming back, I think his mom just committed him to us, which is excellent. So
Thank you. Yep.
All right. Thanks,
Thanks.
Mylan. Good to hear from you. Why don't you pass the microphone to your neighbor there? Hi, Ann. How's it going?
Good, Mayor. How are you?
Good. Ann, I hear you have a job fair coming up.
We do. We are in the planning stages of our 17th annual job fair. The date is Thursday, April 16th. It will be from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. At the Civic Center. Last year we had 105 companies, so we're looking to exceed that as long as Mark Heinz can find room for them.
Nice.
And you toured it last year.
It was awesome.
Everyone loves seeing you, so
Yeah.
it's a really great event. Lots
I
of
loved
jobs.
It. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's a
And a
good
lot of
event.
people got hired. I know that.
I know,
And I mean, the
exactly.
types of companies, Horseshoe's always out there. All the trades are out there.
All the trades.
Right. The mills.
Healthcare, banks.
Right.
Schools.
Mhm.
It's good.
Cool.
Yeah.
And
wide
city's out there,
variety.
right, Sharon?
Yep, we're out
Right,
there
Sharon?
as well.
City's out there? Job fair? Yeah.
Yep. So
By the
just
way,
wanted to let you know.
While we're talking about jobs in the city, there's 2 correction officer positions open as we speak. We've been filling these spots with young men and women that want to be Hammond police officers. They come in and they work as correction officers in the Hammond jail, and they guard federal prisoners. And if they could guard federal prisoners for a year or 2, usually we know that they got the experience where they can move up, and we get a chance to learn a little bit about who they are. They get a chance to learn a little bit about what the Hammond police officer does. And quite frankly, Chief, we've been doing a good job of getting these correction officers hired as Hammond police officers.
Yeah, it works great, Mayor. We have 3 in the academy at this moment, and we have 3 going in August, and all are COs.
Yeah, we took over a situation where I want to say it was 16 or 17 Hammond officers that were guarding that at first. Was it that many?
Yeah, we had 18
18,
inside
right.
altogether, and you brought 10 out onto the street through this program.
So we took a Hammond police officer makes a good wage. We're proud of that, by the way. Okay, we want our officers happy and well paid, so they go out and do a good job. But we have these great, well paid Hammond police officers guarding prisoners. No offense, we bring in these young men and women that want to be police officers, and we put them in there. It's a fraction of the cost. So the taxpayers get a good bang. We get more officers on the streets, which gives us all a good bang for our buck also. And then, as a result, we get to meet these people and hire them as Hammond police officers. So it's been a great success story. We're really happy with it. And the reason we're talking about it here is we have 2 open spots. So if you have a young man or woman that you know wants to be a police officer, this is a great way to start your career. I've seen it happen over a dozen times already, and it's going to continue to happen. We did it another way for a long, long time. This is one of the biggest moves we made in the police department in my time as mayor. It allows us to hire more local residents into the police department, and that's what it's all about with me. So anyway, thanks, Chief. That's a great program. Thanks, Ann, for the upcoming job fair. Mark, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
We had a ribbon cutting the other day.
We did. It was
You
nice.
know, Councilman Emerson was talking earlier about Edison Park and how the big problem he has is litter. I totally get it. You know, when we announced that we were shutting down the public pools in 3 locations, there was a lot of head scratching going on and a lot of skepticism that what we were going to follow through and it was going to be a good result. I tell you, Edison Park, it's night and day. Hessville Park, oh my goodness, there's so many kids that use the splash pad and the skateboard park and the baseball field out there. And I tell you, MLK, we cut the ribbon on the Freedom Plaza the other day, and it's gorgeous what we've done out there. And the splash pad's coming in, I think,
This spring, as soon as the weather breaks, we're going to be filling that up. We'll have another ribbon cutting out there for that when to celebrate that as well. So.
And then we got 1 park project left.
Correct.
Pulaski Park. And we're working with...
I don't know how to say one
No,
left.
that's
We're
off the
always
original
working
bond
towards
issue.
the next one,
The
too.
bond issue. We have a lot of parks left. But we did a bond issue for 4 parks, and now we have...
That is correct.
All
for
of our
Pulaski.
focus
Yep.
is on Pulaski Park now.
Yep.
Right. I see Bonnie out there. I want to make sure she knew. So...
But we did. The MLK ribbon cutting was on 1/20/2020, and as
that
you
was
mentioned,
really cool how that worked out.
As you mentioned that morning, it was 20 degrees when you cut that ribbon. So
I
was
made
a
that
lot
part
of
up. I
really
didn't know if
exciting.
it was 20 degrees.
I
just
saw
sounded
20
really
in my
good.
car that morning.
And I spoke real mayoral. I don't do that very often, but I was like, let it be known that on 1/20/2020 in 20-degree weather. I thought about that the day before.
Which for
I was
MLK Day is actually
I never do
a warm
formal
day.
stuff like that. I thought we should have had like a proclamation. That would have been perfect.
That would.
It was really nice. The Freedom Plaza, if you get a chance when it's warmer, we got the Eternal Flame going, and I've seen Eternal Flames. This is a big Eternal Flame. It's like real wide, so it's a big flame, and I imagine the NIPSCO bill is going to be something to deal with there, so we're going to go to NIPSCO and see if we can get a break from them, because it is MLK Flame.
That is true. That is
Right.
true. And you mentioned a proclamation. Another proclamation we usually do annually is
Yes.
coming up here in February, 219 Day.
Region holiday coming
February
up.
15th from 6 to 11 over at the Civic Center. This is the 5th annual. 2020 in the Chinese calendar is the year of the rat, so that's what we're celebrating.
The year of the
Year
rat.
of the rat.
We can't help these things. I mean, that was just too easy this year. So we have people from all over Northwest Indiana come. We always have a few thousand people in the Civic Center. Obviously, we want a great showing. Census, by the way, 219 Day is on. It's not on 219.
Saturday, February 15th.
Saturday, February 15th. Please stop by. You'll run into a couple thousand people. So, yeah. Isn't it?
6 to 11 p.m.
6 to 11. Thank you very much. By the way, our longtime city controller for the city of Hammond, Heather Gray. One of the things about city government is we get people, we bring them in, we train them well, and then they realize about 2 or 3 years into their tenure that they can make a lot more money on the outside. And unfortunately, that happened with us where our city controller was purchased away from us. She was great, though. She did a great job, and she had an opportunity for personal, she can make a lot more money working for another company, and we were sad to see her go, but one of the things Heather did well while she was controller was we trained a lot of great people underneath her so that we'd be ready for the day that Heather did move on, and Heather did, and fortunate for us, we have Megan Flores, who's got great credentials, sitting right there ready to go, and this is Megan's first Mayor's Night Out as the city controller, so welcome aboard again.
Thank you, Mayor.
I told her she just has to learn how to say no a lot. Like whenever anybody asks you, just say no right off the bat, and then we'll figure it out, right? But
Yes.
Megan was how old were you when you first started working with me?
I started as a college-bound student doing my hours in your office at 19 and just kind of became an intern and worked my way up.
I've seen her graduate from college. I've seen her get married and start raising a family. And now she's taken over as city controller. She's got her master's degree. It's just, we're very proud of Megan. She literally started from the bottom and worked her way up to one of the top positions in city government. And her family's from Hammond. I know they're very proud of her. But again, Megan, congratulations on your promotion. So,
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm working my way over. When we run short on questions, I start asking everybody what's going on. So how we doing? Smitty, how's it going?
I'm good.
Yeah.
We got nothing going on.
Really? You have a class of people going.
We have
right now, right?
we hired 2 last month or month and a half ago, so they're coming on the floor Saturday and Sunday. We were in the process of hiring an extra one, but he got held up downstate with perf. So
And in one of the classes, don't you have a young lady that's?
we do. She'll be hopefully. I hope it's in end of February, but for sure by March. If it's all according to downstate with perf, and once they approve all the doctors, the testing and all that.
In Hammond Police Department, we have a number of women police officers. Of course, Kelly Mickey in the back, one of them right here. But what do we have, 15? Kelly, you know off the top of your head? 14? I was pretty close. I said 15, she's like, no. I'm like, I was one off, come on. Okay, see, I was thinking 13, okay, I was 2 off. Anyway, but no, the Hammond Police Department, for some reason, it seems like it's easier to get women that want to go into law enforcement versus women who want to go in the fire department. Maybe it's because they have to sleep all night in the firehouse, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. I mean,
when I took over, we had 2 women in the fire department, right? Or was it just Diane?
Just one,
Okay.
Diane. At one time, we had 3,
Yeah.
back 20-something years ago, and then, one of the female firefighters married a male firefighter, so she couldn't work there anymore.
Really?
Her son actually is a firefighter now.
Yeah.
And then we had 2, and then Kathy left and went to Florida, and then Diane retired from the fire department about 6 years ago, I believe. And we have agility tests, the written test. This girl hired a personal trainer, and she kicked butt on the testing.
Nice. Because usually when women apply, that's usually the hardest part for them is
the agility test.
You have to literally carry a dummy up the stairs.
You got to hose, drag the hose full of water, take the ladder off the building, put it back on, climb a 100-foot aerial.
Right.
So yeah,
that's awesome, man.
She did really well.
I'm super proud of you guys, and that's awesome. I'm glad to hear she's making it.
Thank you.
Good job. Thanks. And pass the microphone to Carmen. How's it going, Carmen?
It's going right along, moving right along.
Carmen's done a great job across the street with she's in charge of Hammond Housing Authority. Obviously, Columbia Center is under her wing. She also has a couple other locations throughout the city. So what's the big thing going on right now with you across the street since we're in the 4th District?
Right now, across the street, it's been pretty quiet. And
yeah, I mean, you're done rebuilding. in my 16-year term as mayor, 100% across the street's been rebuilt, right?
Correct.
100%, like every building, everything.
Either fully constructed or fully rehabbed.
Yeah, that's great. So now it's just, you're fully booked, and now it's just collecting rents, right?
Collecting rents for here, and then we're working on the other side of town at Turner Park. So hopefully we're going to be renovating those and doing some remodeling in those units that's much needed.
So you're over there, and you got legal aid across the street also, right? Hi, Chris, how's it going? How's it going? I know you got a permanent home across the street now with the legal aid clinic.
We do, finally. We just celebrated our 15th anniversary in October.
Do you get a lot of walk-in traffic from like the 4th District? I mean, did you guys, how many people in here knew the legal aid clinic was located in the 4th District? Really? Okay, we got a few, mostly city people.
Come on, the city people should know that.
The city people.
We've been there 3 years now, Carmen. I think it'll be 3 years.
Well, the first year you didn't even have offices though, right? It was like, you were
no, we were in a
living out
little
of a box.
space.
Right.
But it was okay. We squatted for a year, and now we have our permanent space.
You have the whole wing now, right?
On the one side, yes. But we did celebrate our 15th year in October. This was one of the mayor's initial priorities in his first run for mayor. And we originally were a city department, but we are now a private entity, 501c3, and we service people in Hammond. You have to live in Hammond for 9 months and meet the poverty guidelines, or if you're over 62, we only look at your earned income, and we handle all civil matters. And we are coming up on our 5,000th customer.
5,000?
5,000.
That's great.
So.
That's awesome. Congrats, Chris.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. So, hey, Phil, what's up?
Mayor, I think this is kind of interesting to make this announcement tonight, that obviously most of the people in the room have already heard about the hockey rink, otherwise known as Ice Cube, that's gone up and right up where the old Hammond FOP used to be. And one of the surprises that we got from that project is shortly after it went under construction, Purdue Northwest announced that they're going to start their hockey team. Tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. is the first official Purdue Northwest hockey game at the Ice Cube. Mayor Tom is going to be dropping the puck tomorrow night, and I think it'd be fun to be there for the first one ever. So I hope everybody comes out, supports Purdue's team.
Thanks. The first collegiate hockey game in Hammond's history.
What's that?
In Hammond's history, it's the first collegiate hockey game.
It's pretty cool.
It's really cool, and I don't know how many people realizes this, but over the holidays, because Ice Cube wasn't ready yet, over the holidays, Purdue got a game with the University of Michigan Wolverines, and they played in Crown Point, and I was eating my heart out because it was the University of Michigan hockey team played against Purdue Northwest, and they played in Bulldog Park in Crown Point. So Mayor Dave was giving me 8 kinds of hell for that, obviously. But like, we're gonna have real hockey matches in Hammond. Like, and the hockey's different. They don't really have the levels. If you're in a collegiate hockey team, you could play Notre Dame, you could play Michigan, and they'll be coming to Hammond. It's really cool what's going on there. And I know we already had a couple high school hockey matches already. So Ice Cube is getting up and running. Is it open for the public yet?
There's certain nights they're looking about having public skating. They're still figuring out what nights they're going to have their leagues on. There's not going to be a lot of ice time available for leagues because it's filling up quickly, but they promised us that Hammond residents will have opportunities to have open skating. So,
what about the Sky Zone? I know that was part of it too also.
They're talking more summer of 2020 before that's going to open up.
That's this summer.
Yeah, this year. I'm sorry.
You're like summer of 20. I'm like, what?
It's so far away, Mayor.
Yeah,
I mean,
summer of 2020.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, they're waiting until the summer. They really wanted to get the rink going. Obviously, that's the primary focus of the facility.
Right.
But the jump zone is going to be important. It's going to be revenue for the facility as well.
Right. Well,
and by the way, Mayor,
this
was a P3. This was one where the city participated to a certain level, which it couldn't have happened without it.
Right.
But without a lot of the department heads that are sitting here, like Kelly Kearney and Bob Vale and Dean Button and Smitty and Chief Doty and everybody who just was involved with this, it couldn't have happened. It took everybody at the table to make this happen.
Gary Gleason, with the beautiful traffic improvements we have out there. Hey Gary, when are we going to make that permanent, Dean? You know, for anybody that's been over by the new ice rink, we have like a very, very temporary situation just to protect the neighborhood from traffic. We blocked it off, like we blocked off Boy Scout Road, basically. It looks the same. It's construction barriers. It's not pretty at all. Eventually, it's going to be a permanent structure. Councilman Warple and I have been working real closely with Dean on this. What's the timeline on that, Dean?
So any day now, we should be getting the materials to do, to do the lane delineators and curb. So we're going to do that temporarily and just make sure it is what we want it to do. And then I know Councilman Werpel has worked with us to try to see if we can improve the roadway. We were really waiting until all the construction, the bulk of the construction was done before we do any resurfacing and improvements at 174th and JF Mahoney. But I'm working with Gary to get those materials put in the next week or so if the weather permits.
Cool. Thanks. All right. We're cruising through. Donna, you got another question, I hear.
Yes, sir.
I'm doing everything I can to get you guys to ask questions, so I've delayed all I can.
No more have come in.
What's that?
So no more have come in.
Okay,
So this
that's
will be
good.
our last one.
We'll just stretch this one for.
The corner of 169th and Columbia has been vacant and for sale for years. Is there a possibility of the city purchasing that property and doing something with it?
I hate that piece of property. I hate the way it looks. I hate that whole side of 169th and Columbia. You know, across the street on the north side is an ugly used car lot, packed to the rim with cars. On the south side is an old gas station. Ron, does it still have the tanks in that gas station, or they're out? But still, it's never been developed, so I'm sure it's got some environmental issues that we have to deal with, right? Small. It's really not, it's a good location. I just don't get it. And I toyed with an idea of making a roundabout there and using that, and trying to clean up that area, and it didn't really work because it would have been a real big roundabout and it wouldn't have been that effective. So it's unfortunately, it's just one of those pieces of property. It just seems like it's going to take a while, and it's taken a while already. I've been mayor. It's been my whole term, and unfortunately in economic development, sometimes you have pieces like that that's, that sit around for a while before they're redeveloped, and then sometimes they go like hotcakes. But we are very aware I know what that intersection looks like to the detail in my head. I've thought about it and been there so many times. In fact, my brother's company is repping the old gas station, if I remember correctly, and I'm sure they'd like to see it move as well, because if it moves, then they get paid. But it's just one of those pieces of property. And by the way, right across the street, the Zell's does just fine. So I'd imagine if they put some type of restaurant there, it would do just fine, because Zell's kills it. I go to Zell sometimes, I'm like, I can't even wait in the line there, it's so long. So I don't know what else to say. And the Legion posted another one, you're right, and it's doing really well. It's beautiful. Ann, what do you think about that? I get tough questions, I go to the department heads.
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm here for. Economic development, we have a list on our website of all available properties. So when people and companies and developers call our office, we can refer them to the list or go to it ourselves and compile a list of good sites for them. And this property is on our list, so we can offer it up to people, but no one's really called directly about it. Mm-hmm. But it's on our list. We do promote it.
It seems like, and I'm not making excuses, but there are hot parts of our city, and then there's parts of our city that aren't as hot, like real estate-wise. And it seems like if it's on the outskirts of our city, if it's off the highway, if it's close to Chicago, it goes like hotcakes. You can't, and then, when you're trying to develop like downtown, you're going further into the downtown, it's a lot harder. And obviously, Columbia and 169th isn't totally downtown, but the further you get away from the highway, it's just incrementally that much harder. But we do have success stories over there, like that Flights, that new bar restaurant that opened up is real good over there and great location. So anyway, I appreciate somebody bringing that up. It's a tough job. Being mayor, being in economic development for 130-year-old city is tough. And you'll never be done with your work. Every day I wake up, there's 100 things on my list. And when I go to bed, there's 110 things on my list because 10 got added. That's just the way it is. So anyway, does anybody else have anything to bring up? Oh, great. Hi. Hey, by the way, I wanted to mention, Awana and her department ran the MLK event the other day. And I thought it went really, really well. And it seems like every year, it's an hour and a half-ish, and it's always like really well attended. It's always like a very nice morning. And now that we have Founders Plaza with MLK and we start the walk from there, I thought it went really well, and I just wanted to congratulate you. Thank you.
I would like to invite everyone to come out to the Black History Celebration. It's going to take place on February the 6th at the Hammond Sports Complex. This year, we will be honoring our African-American law enforcement heroes. 3 of them are in the back. Hey guys. I harassed them a lot to get information from them, but they're awesome. We have 12 men and there's 1 woman we'll be honoring that
Awesome.
day. So it starts at 10 o'clock. So please come out and support our officers.
Thanks, Awana. Appreciate it. Anybody else? How's it going, Clyde? Clyde's your Public Works supervisor for the 4th District. How you doing, sir?
Good, how are you?
Good. Working hard. I was driving through the 4th District today. I went through Riverside Park, and everybody was working super hard over there. I even saw you out there working hard. So I didn't let you guys know I was there, though.
I saw you.
But I did go. I do drive out and make sure our guys are working hard, and they were busting it today in Riverside Park. It looks great. So
You've been busy. You normally interact with us when there's a snowstorm.
Yeah, but you'll see Clyde's car. His car is clearly marked 4th District Supervisor. I mean, you get flagged down all the time, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so if you ever see him, if you have an issue, just flag him down. That's what these guys, all the supervisors, they drive around with their trucks clearly marked, and they'll take spur-of-the-moment complaints, and they'll take care of it, usually by themselves. So thanks, Clyde. Good to see you here. And Megan, you got it.
I just wanted to remind the residents that your animal licenses are due. So the final date to get that done is going to be March 31st. That's for dogs and cats. It's $5 if you have proof of spay or neuter with your rabies certificate, and $10 if you don't. As of March 31st, if you come April 1st, unfortunately, you're going to incur a $10 late fee. So try to make it in or mail it in to us, or you can go to gohammond.com and do that online before March 31st.
She's such a great controller already, isn't she? That's good. Great. Thanks, Megan. I appreciate it. Anybody else? Hi, Sharon. How's it going?
Just if anybody was interested in the correctional officer position, we're going to take applications until February 6th, first floor of City Hall.
And then another thing, I know Sharon and I are constantly trying to fill jobs. Gary's department, it seems like people come and go all the time. There's one thing, if you want to get work in the city of Hammond and you're just like, whatever job you got, the best way that you become eligible for a job is to get a CDL. Right, Gary? And Gary has 110 drivers? Wow, right off the top of my head. Right. After 16 years, I should be able to get that right, I imagine, right? But so 110 CDL drivers, and these drivers make good money, especially this time of year. You know, I mean, when it snows on a Saturday night to Sunday, we need people out there scraping the streets, and, you know, they're making double time on Sundays, time and a half on overtime, so. But so if you, even if we don't have open spots, which right now I don't believe we have any open, do we, Gary? No, we just had one open. Right, right. But like, if you had a CDL and you got your information into Sharon, within a couple weeks you'd be hired. That's how often we go through CDLs. So if you're interested, or your son or daughter is looking for a job, and by the way, we had so many people that started here in the street department and they went off and did other things throughout the city. One of them is department head and code enforcement right now, Jaime Prieto. Kelly, I forgot about you. Carmen, you were in Public Works, right? She's running Hammond Housing. And I always tell the new employees when they come in, is like, hey, when we post jobs internally, I usually fill them 90% of the time with current existing employees. So you start in, you're working with Gary in streets, 10 years later, you may be running a department. So I appreciate what Gary does, and I appreciate what the Public Works Department does. So. And also, while we're here, embarrassing people, Johnny Perez, could you stand up real quick? Come on, he's very shy, but a great guy. He's my new appointee to the Board of Public Works and Safety. Good to see you, Johnny. Johnny's a great guy. So the funny thing is, he was really nervous about being on the Board of Public Works, right? And he was like, I don't want to mess up. I don't want to do anything wrong. So he was in his first meeting today, and we were waiting for him to say something, and he seconded a motion, and I was so tempted to text him and say, what are you seconding that motion for, Johnny? I was so tempted to, but I didn't want to do it. So anyway, Johnny, great job. Welcome to the Board of Public Works and Safety. He's there with Captain of Police Jeff Long, and he's also there with the Deputy Fire Chief Kevin Margraf, who's also a resident of the 4th District. Good to see you guys. Thank you very much. Anybody have any wrap-ups?
We got 2 questions while you were talking.
Oh, look at that.
Should we take them?
Sure.
Megan, a follow-up to the dog license. Every year, the 3-year rabies, can you keep the same form so we don't have to keep bringing it back every year?
Wow.
Yes, as long as that expiration date that's listed on the rabies certificate shows that it's good the time that you walk into the office, we will issue your license.
Okay, then, does anyone know when the lights will be back on the bridge at, what? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's like, I've been getting my dog licenses for years.
Like a carryover for them? Like if you're doing the same dog year after year? Well, you know, it's interesting. You're sitting right next to the gentleman that does our website for us, Ray. Hey, Ray, how's it going? That's a good idea, right, Ray?
We were supposed to meet about that today.
Really? That's so funny. Okay. So the good thing is, like, everybody hears what you're saying. And so, like, I know when I have software I do with my campaign finance, and it doesn't make me type all the same information in year after year. Like if Councilman Emerson one year gives me a $100 donation, and the next year he gives me a $100 donation, when I type in EME, it says, Bill Emerson? I say, yes. And I don't have to type in his stuff, right? I get what you're saying. I think it makes sense. Yes, ma'am. It makes a lot of sense. If you have dog name.
Unfortunately, it's a manual process, so we handwrite, as I'm not sure if you mail it in or if you come in. I see. So we print out your dog's information and we actually manually write the license out and then send it out to you. We don't have that in a computer software currently, so we don't have the capability of keeping your rabies certificate on file, unfortunately. So that's why it is something that we require you to bring every year and us handwrite it out every year with the new license tag. But as Ray mentioned, we are going to be meeting and trying to figure out a way to do it a little bit better and a little bit more convenient for the residents.
We hear you, ma'am. I think that's a great recommendation. You got the right people here. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It should be easier, too. I appreciate your question. That's a really good point. Thank you. Any other questions? All right.
One more. Does anyone know when the lights will be back on the bridge at Indianapolis Boulevard between Michigan and Summer heading south?
Michigan, Summer, heading south. I didn't realize they were out. I'll be honest. I go over that bridge often. Indianapolis Boulevard, Michigan, Summer, heading, right. Right.
I can follow up with NDOT.
Could you say it in the microphone? Yeah.
I will follow up with NDOT on that right away.
Heading south, so it'd be coming, you're heading southbound,
old Nine-Span, right?
Coming over by, what's that?
The old Nine-Span bridge.
Yeah, old Nine-Span, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'll contact NDOT right away on that.
Cool.
Thank you.
I appreciate everybody in here. We've been doing this a long time. We tried to calculate out how many mayor's night outs we've done. It's over 150. I think it's close to 200, but every time we see a good group out here, and then we post this kind of stuff on social media and we get thousands of views, so we know we're doing the right thing going out and talking to everybody. I appreciate you all, and the police officers that worked so hard and got the awards. Congratulations again. And to all the residents, thank you very much for coming to Mayor's Night Out. Our next Mayor's Night Out takes place in the 3rd District, April 15th. Isn't that tax day? Tax day, April 15th in the 3rd District at the Sportsplex, 6630 Indianapolis Boulevard. So, yes. Oh, yeah? So we could do online questions. We can stay here all night. So, all right. There's got to be reward for showing up. So, thank you, everybody. Enjoy your night. Thanks for coming to Mayor's Night Out.